In this video, I'm going to show you what the evidence reads in regards to the opening of the application portal where you can request an economic injury disaster loan grant of up to $10,000. I uploaded a video last week where I told you the Small Business Administration exclusively released an official statement reading that the federal agency would not be opening the application portal where you can request an economic injury disaster loan grant of $10,000 on January 17th, 2021, contrary to multiple reports on the web and on YouTube. And I told you, that's why I was uploading YouTube shorts on Sunday, telling you, don't waste your Sunday. The Small Business Administration told me on Wednesday that they would not be opening the application portal where you can request an economic injury disaster loan grant as per the new disaster relief package. And look, if you take a look at SBA.gov, you still see the same text, EIDL advance, no longer available. They haven't updated it. They haven't given you an opportunity to request that economic injury disaster loan grant of up to $10,000. And the Small Business Administration told me that last Wednesday. I read the entire statement to you in last week's video. On last week's video, I told you that I first noticed that the Small Business Administration reportedly stated they would open the portal where you can request an economic injury disaster loan grant up to $10,000 on nav.com. And this is what it read. Update, January 5th, 2020. The president has signed a stimulus bill that includes the more funding for economic injury disaster loan grants. The next step is for the SBA to issue guidance and instructions. The SBA has indicated that a new disaster loan application portal will be available by January 17th, 2021. And you had numerous publications that parroted this information, only suggesting that the Small Business Administration would indeed be opening the portal where you can request an economic injury disaster loan grant of up to $10,000. Now, let's take a look at nav.com now. First off, remember, when I read the statement, thanks for your inquiry. This is what Andrea Robker, she is the regional director, the director for Region 5, communications director for Region 5 at the SBA. Thanks for your inquiry. We're not sure where nav.com got this information, and I'll be reaching out to Jerry next. Jerry Detweiler. She's the writer at nav.com that I believe started this entire rumor that the Small Business Administration would indeed be opening the portal where you can request an economic injury disaster loan grant of up to $10,000. This is Andrea Robker. She's the one that told me about this, that indeed that was not the case, and you saw that the SBA did not indeed release that portal. Let's take a look at Nav now. So, Ms. Detweiler, she updated her article. Let me go ahead and zoom in real quick. Can I zoom in? Yes, sir. And ma'am. To read, update January 14th, the president has signed the stimulus bill that includes the more funding for EIDL grants. The next step is for the SBA to issue guidance and instructions. So, you can clearly read that she deleted that sentence that read, where is it at? Let's go back to it. That read that the SBA has indicated the new disaster loan application portal will be available by January 17th, 2021. She removed that sentence, and if you look at the comments section of that same article, someone asked her, Jamal Singleton, I wanted to know, when do the portal open? Period. I heard January 17th, but it's still not on the SBA website. Ms. Detweiler responded by writing, Jamal, I update the article after a conversation with the SBA. So indeed, Ms. Robker communicated with Detweiler and corrected her. They have only opened the portal for EIDL loans, not the targeted grants. We're still waiting to get instructions for the grant. Unfortunately, they were not able to provide a date. So there is no date as of January 18th, 2021 at 6:32 a.m. About roughly 4 days after they told me that, 5 days actually after they told me that there was indeed no date set to open the economic injury disaster loan grant portal. Now, today, Max Mayer, he's a YouTuber, he's on YouTube, and I watched some of his videos. He had Bill Briggs, he's the associate director for the Department of Capital Access over at the Small Business Administration, and reportedly he's managing, or his division is managing, the distribution of funds through the Paycheck Protection Program. Now, during this live stream, CEO, Womply Chief Toby Scammell stated that he expected the Small Business Administration to open the portal where you can request an economic injury disaster loan grant up to $10,000 in mid-February. However, Mr. Scammell does not directly work for the Small Business Administration. He does work for the company that is processing Paycheck Protection Program applications, but he does not work directly for the Small Business Administration. I will give some credence to his statement, however, because Mr. Briggs, who does work for the SBA, was present during this conversation. He didn't say anything contrary to that. Nonetheless, he probably just didn't want to. He didn't want to get himself in hot water and listen, or say something that he didn't know about. So he didn't confirm or he didn't deny anything. Nonetheless, Mr. Scammell is not an official source. So if you hear anybody talking about that, the portal where you can request an economic injury disaster loan grant up to $10,000 will open in mid-February, that did not come from an official source. So you see how fake news gets distributed, or potential fake news can get distributed. I'm not saying that Mr. Scammell is lying. I'm just stating that he is not an official source. I went ahead and asked Miss Andrea Ropker, Regional Communications Director for Region 5 over at the SBA, whether indeed the federal agency is set to release the application portal where you can request an economic injury disaster loan grant of up to $10,000 in mid-February through the following email. Again, I can't thank you enough, Andrea, for keeping our business owners informed. A live stream popped up today with Bill Briggs, Deputy Associate Administrator in the SBA Office of Capital Access, and Womply Chief Toby Scammell. At the 471 mark, Mr. Scammell stated that the EIDL grant portal would not open until mid-February. And I linked Ms. Ropker to the live stream right at the timestamp where Mr. Scammell stated that he expected the portal where you can request an economic injury disaster loan grant up to $10,000 in mid-February. However, he's not an official source, as I've already said it numerous times during this video. As Mr. Briggs did not say anything to the contrary, will the EIDL grant program indeed open in mid-February? Also, will Mr. Briggs be managing the distribution of EIDL grant funds? Because Mr. Mayer stated, Mr. Mayer, who is the vlogger who hosted this live stream, stated that Mr. Briggs heads the department that will be distributing Paycheck Protection Program funds and EIDL grant funds. However, Mr. Briggs, during no time during the live stream, mentioned anything about the EIDL grant, and Mr. Scammell stated that the questions would be focused on the Paycheck Protection Program, the processing of applications for which are starting today. Once she gives me a response, I'll upload it with a subsequent video. Talk soon.